Vitalica, light the way.
All right, let's talk about insulin. It's this absolutely crucial hormone, right? But for most of us, we only really hear its name when something's not working. So today, we're gonna flip that script and really get to know what it does. So have you ever really thought about what happens after you eat something delicious? I mean, you finish your meal, and then what? Your body just magically turns it into energy, right? Well, it's not magic. It's a tiny, powerful hormone acting like a superhero for your cells. Let's follow it and see exactly how it pulls this off. Okay, so how do we even begin to wrap our heads around insulin? Let's forget all the complicated biology jargon for a minute. The absolute best way to think about it is as your body's own personal master key. So here's the deal. Your pancreas is like the key factory, pumping out these insulin keys and sending them into your bloodstream. And they have one mission, and one mission only: find the locks on your body's cells. Once that insulin key fits into the lock and turns, boom, the cell door swings open and all that glucose, the sugar from your food, can rush inside to power you up. But think about it. Without that key, all that amazing energy is just stuck outside. It's literally locked out and can't do you any good. All right, let's trace the entire journey step by step. From the second you take that first bite of food, what is insulin really doing behind the scenes? Let's follow the breadcrumbs. Okay, it all kicks off the moment you eat. Your body gets to work breaking down that food. Then, as those nutrients start flooding your bloodstream, your blood sugar level starts to climb. And that is the alarm bell. Your pancreas hears it loud and clear and immediately springs into action, releasing a wave of insulin to manage the whole situation. So, where does insulin go first? Its first major stop is your muscles. It gets there and starts unlocking all the doors so that glucose can just pour right in for immediate energy. But get this, it's not just a delivery driver for fuel. It also helps your muscles grab amino acids from the protein you ate. And that's absolutely essential for repairing and building them back up. So it's like a fuel up and a tune up all in one go. Okay, next stop on the tour, the liver. Think of your liver as the body's main energy warehouse. Insulin shows up and basically yells the command, store the extra fuel. So the liver starts pulling all this excess glucose out of the blood and packs it away neatly as something called glycogen. This is so important for keeping your energy levels stable. And hey, what if the warehouse gets totally full? No sweat. The liver just converts the leftovers for more permanent, long-term storage. And that brings us to the final destination for that long-term energy reserve, your fat tissue. Insulin heads over, unlocks those cells, and lets them soak up both glucose and fatty acids. It's basically tucking that energy away for a rainy day. See? Nothing goes to waste. It is an absolutely incredible system of energy management when you think about it. But what happens when this perfectly tuned system fails? This is where we get to the heart of what goes wrong in diabetes. It's all about a breakdown in that relationship between the key and the lock. And this really breaks it down perfectly. With type 1 diabetes, it's like the key factory just shuts down. The body's own immune system destroys the cells that make insulin. So no more keys are being made, period. Now, with type 2, it's a different story. The factory is still making keys, but the locks on the cells have become, kind of rusty or jammed. The key is there, but it just won't turn. The end result is exactly the same. Glucose is locked out of the cells, but the root cause is totally different. So when the body's own system can't do the job, we have to step in and help. And that's where we get into insulin therapy. This is the really practical side of things, how we can put this master key to work from the outside safely and effectively. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. It's a question I hear all the time. Why can't you just take insulin as a pill, right? It would be so much easier. Well, there's a really good reason, and it all comes down to what insulin is actually made of. And here's the simple answer. Insulin is a protein. And your stomach is basically a protein-destroying machine. It doesn't care if that protein came from a cheeseburger or from a pill, its job is to digest it. So if you swallowed insulin, your stomach would just shred it to pieces before it ever had a chance to get into your bloodstream and do its job. It would be totally useless. And that's why insulin has to be injected, specifically just under the skin, into the fatty tissue. We're talking places like the abdomen, the thighs, or the back of the arms. That little layer of fat is the perfect spot because it allows the insulin to be absorbed nice and slow, very steadily. You definitely want to avoid hitting a muscle though. That's a big no-no because it would get absorbed way too fast and could cause a really dangerous drop in blood sugar. And listen, storing insulin correctly is absolutely non-negotiable. You have to do it right for it to work. Any unopened pens or vials, they live in the fridge. Simple as that. Once you open one and start using it, it's usually okay at room temperature for about 4 weeks. And this should go without saying, but always check that expiration date. Using expired insulin is just asking for trouble with your blood sugar. Now, it's important to know that not all insulin is created equal. You can basically break it down into 2 main types. First, you've got your fast-acting or mealtime insulin. This is the stuff you take to handle that big spike of sugar that comes from a meal. Then you've got your long-acting or basal insulin. This one is the slow and steady worker, providing a constant background drip of insulin 24/7. Most people on insulin therapy actually use a combination of both to mimic what a healthy pancreas does naturally. You know, using insulin isn't a passive thing. It's not just about taking a shot and forgetting about it. It's really an active partnership, a team effort between you and your doctor. And really understanding your role in that partnership, well, that's the real key to making it all work. Okay, the number one thing you've got to be on the lookout for is hypoglycemia. That's just the fancy word for low blood sugar. And the signs are pretty classic. You might feel shaky, start sweating, get really confused all of a sudden, or feel dizzy. Being able to spot these signs, whether in yourself or in someone else, is so important. It's your body's alarm system telling you that you need to do something, and you need to do it right now. And you know what? There's a super simple, memorable little rhyme to help you remember what to do. It can literally be a lifesaver. Cold and clammy, give me candy. The cold and clammy part describes how someone's skin might feel when their sugar is low, and the give me candy part is the solution. A quick source of sugar is exactly what they need right away. Here's a pro tip, and trust me, this one is super important. You have to rotate your injection sites. If you keep injecting in the exact same spot over and over again, the tissue there can actually get tough or lumpy, and it won't absorb the insulin correctly. So you gotta keep moving it around. The good news is you've got plenty of real estate to work with between your abdomen, arms, and thighs. So there you have it. We've gone through what insulin is, what it does, and how it's managed. Just understanding all this, that's the first and honestly the most powerful step you can take towards being in control of your health. The master key is right there, in your hands. So the only question left is, what are you going to unlock with it?